Hello, this is GED Live at PALS with teacher Alex. Today's subject is GED Science and the topic is Human Body Systems. The human body is composed of organ systems that work interactively to carry out the different functions of life. In this presentation we will have a look at the following 9 major organ systems and their functions: the integumentary system, the skeletal system, the muscular system, the nervous system, the endocrine, circulatory, respiratory, digestive, and urinary system. The integumentary system is an organ system that consists of the skin, hair, nails, and exocrine glands. And the main functions of the integumentary system are obviously a barrier function. We have a tough skin that contains not only cells but as well a tough protein which is called keratin that guards tissues beneath. Keratin is as well found in our hair and in our fingernails. The barrier function protects the organs underneath and structures underneath the skin against physical damage. The skin has a mildly acidic nature due to skin secretions and especially immune cells that contribute towards preventing pathogenic colonization and fight infections. Another function of the skin is to prevent dehydration of the body. Small glands in our skin secrete sebum, which forms a water barrier and prevents dehydration through loss of water. It as well lubricates the skin through oils. We can see these glands on the picture here on the right. They usually come together with the hair and the hair follicles. Another important function of the skin is the thermoregulation, not only the skin but working together with the circulatory system. We have a layer of adipose, of fat tissue, that insulates against cold temperatures, and sweat glands that produce sweat for cooling by evaporation if our body gets too hot. Additionally, arterioles in the subcutis, the subcutaneous layer, which we can see down here, the larger blood vessels. These arterioles can constrict and dilate, and that regulates the amount of blood flow in the skin's surface. If our body temperature is too high, the blood flow close to the surface increases, the arterioles dilate, and we can give off heat to the surrounding. If our body temperature is too low, the arterioles will constrict and prevent blood flow close to the skin surface. The skeletal system consists of all the bones, cartilage, tendons, ligaments, and joints in the body. A bone is a rigid form of connective tissue that is part of the skeletal system of vertebrates, and it is composed principally of calcium. Cartilage is a resilient and smooth elastic tissue, rubber-like padding that covers and protects the ends of long bones at the joints and nerves. And it's a structural component of the rib cage, the ear, the nose, and many other body components. Tendons are tough, flexible, and inelastic bands of fibrous connective tissue that connect muscles to bones. Ligament is a small band of dense, white, fibrous, elastic tissue. Ligaments connect the ends of bones together in order to form a joint. They also assist in holding organs in place. Joints hold the skeleton and support movement. They can be grouped together by functions and structure, such as ball and socket or hinge or pivot joints. The function of the skeletal system is obviously support and motion. When you move, you can feel how your bones support and facilitate your movement by serving as points of attachment for your muscles. they have a protective function as well. Bones protect important internal organs from physical damage by covering or surrounding them, like the rib cage that protects our lungs and heart, or the vertebral column that protects our spinal cord, and the skull that protects our brain. Another function is fat storage and blood cell formation. There is a unique connective tissue that fills the interior of many bones, and it's referred to as the bone marrow. There are two types of bone marrow: yellow bone marrow, which contains fat tissue, which serves as a source of energy storage. Red bone marrow is where the production of red blood cells, white blood cells, and blood platelets takes place. Another function is mineral storage. Bone tissue acts as a reservoir for a number of different minerals that are important for the functioning of the body. They store especially calcium and phosphorus. These minerals, incorporated into bone tissue, can be released back into the bloodstream to maintain levels needed to support physiological processes and keep them in balance. The muscular system is an organ system consisting of skeletal, smooth, and cardiac muscle, three types of muscle. It permits the movement of the body and maintains posture and circulates blood through the body. We can see the three types of muscle tissue below. Smooth muscle has narrow, tapered, rod-shaped cells. They are non-striated and uninucleated fibers, which means each muscle cell of smooth muscle has one nucleus. It occurs in the walls of internal organs and blood vessels, and its motion or control is involuntary. We find these muscles in our small intestine, in our stomach, in our large intestine, for example. Cardiac muscle is a specialized muscle tissue that is found in the heart. Its function is obviously involuntary as well. Our heart pumps all the time without conscious thought, and it's striated, tubular, branched, and uninucleated fibers. Again, each cell has one nucleus. Skeletal muscle is specialized in terms of that the cells get very long and they are multinucleated, so each cell has several nuclei. They are striated and tubular. The control of these skeletal muscle cells is usually voluntary. Function of the muscular system is locomotion, together with the skeletal system. It allows movement by contraction and relaxation of muscles attached to the skeleton. Most muscle movements of the body are under conscious control. However, some movements are reflexive, such as withdrawing a hand from a source of heat. Stability. Muscle tendons stretch over joints and contribute to joint stability. The core muscles are those in the abdomen, back, and pelvis, and also stabilize the body. Circulation. The heart is a muscle that pumps blood throughout the body. The movement of the heart is involuntary and it contracts automatically when stimulated by electrical signals. Smooth muscle in the arteries and veins play another important role in the circulation of the blood by maintaining the blood pressure. We will have a closer look at this when we talk about the circulatory system. Another important role is thermoregulation. Almost 85% of the heat of the body is generated by a person's muscles. When body heat falls below the optimal levels, below 37-36 degrees Celsius, our skeletal muscles start to shiver to produce extra heat. The nervous system. It's a complex collection of nerves and specialized cells known as neurons that transmit signals between different parts of the body. It's like our body's electrical wiring, and it's mainly for coordination and response. Structurally, the nervous system has two components, the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system It's made of the brain and the spinal cord. This is where all the coordination takes place. And the peripheral nervous system consists of the nerves that split off from the central nervous system and that connect the central nervous system to the rest of our body. Here we have two parts, the autonomic nervous system and the somatic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system communicates with internal organs and glands and is usually not under conscious control. The somatic nervous system communicates with the sense organs and the voluntary muscles. Functionally, the nervous system has two main subdivisions: somatic, the voluntary component. The somatic system consists of nerves that connect the brain and spinal cord with muscles and sensory receptors, and the autonomic, the involuntary component, which is the nervous system that regulates certain body processes, such as the blood pressure, the rate of breathing, and so on. All these work without conscious control. There are three types of neurons that send the signals around our body. We have sensory neurons that detect stimuli from the surrounding, send a nerve impulse to our central nervous system, where we mainly find relay neurons that send, or interneurons that connect neurons with each other, and the motor neurons that connect the central nervous system to the effectors, which could be glands or muscles. The endocrine system is a chemical messenger system of several endocrine glands. In humans, the major endocrine glands are the thyroid gland and the adrenal glands. Functions of the endocrine system are regulating and controlling various body functions by producing and secreting hormones. Hormones are chemical substances that affect the activity of specific target organs. In essence, hormones serve as messengers controlling and coordinating activities throughout the body. We can see the different endocrine glands here on that graph, on that picture. And for example, the adrenal glands produce the adrenaline, which has an effect on several organs of our body. It is released usually in stress or fight or flight situations, and it gets us ready for exactly that, for either fighting or running away. The circulatory system, or the cardiovascular system, is a network consisting of blood vessels and the heart. Main functions are it permits blood to circulate and transport nutrients such as amino acids and electrolytes, oxygen, carbon dioxide, hormones and blood cells to and from the cells in the body to provide nourishment and help in fighting disease, stabilize temperature and pH, and maintain homeostasis. The circulatory system of the blood is seen as having two components, a systemic circulation and a pulmonary circulation, as we can see on the right. The pulmonary circulation circulates the blood around the lungs, where it gets reoxygenated. After going to the lungs, the blood returns to the heart, and then it is pumped to the rest of the body, where the oxygen is delivered to all the cells, and the deoxygenated blood returns through the vena cava to the right side of the heart, where the blood is again pumped to the lungs. There are three types of blood vessels in the human body. These are arteries, veins, and capillaries. Arteries carry blood away from the heart to various organs of the body, whereas veins collect the blood from the different organs and bring it back to the heart. Capillaries are the tiny blood vessels, which have very thin walls, and their function is to exchange materials between the blood and surrounding cells. We can see below the structure of the different blood vessels. Arteries have very thick walls and a smaller lumen compared to veins, and the thick walls contain muscle tissue and elastic fibers. Veins, on the other hand, have much thinner walls with less muscle and fiber. They have a much larger lumen, and veins as well contain valves to prevent a backflow of blood. The reason for these differences in the structure of arteries and veins is that arteries that carry blood away from the heart carry blood at very high pressure, so they need thick walls, whereas veins return the blood to the heart and carry blood at much lower pressure. This is why they need valves to prevent a backflow of blood when it is on the way returning to the heart. Capillaries are the tiny blood vessels that span a very fine web through all our body so that all our cells are close to the blood to get their oxygen and nutrients. They have very thin walls to allow or to make diffusion of these substances more efficient. On the right side we can see the heart and its different parts. The blood enters the heart coming from the body, deoxygenated through the vena cava. It enters the right atrium, where the blood is then flowing into the right ventricle. The right atrium and ventricle are separated by the tricuspid valve. The blood then leaves the right side of the heart through the pulmonary artery, where the blood goes to the lungs, gets reoxygenated, and returns to the heart through the pulmonary veins on the left side, into the left atrium, into the left ventricle. The left ventricle will contract and pump the blood out of the heart through the aorta, the main artery of our body. The valves in the heart are as well to prevent the backflow of blood. The main pumping action is done by the ventricles. When they contract, we only want the blood to flow out of the right blood vessels, which are the arteries, the pulmonary artery and the aorta. We do not want the blood to flow back when the ventricles contract into the atrium. And this is what the tricuspid and the mitral valve are there for. When the ventricles relax after the pumping action, they expand and they suck blood in. We want this blood to come from the atria, so the tricuspid and mitral valve will then open. On the other hand, we don't want blood returning from the arteries. This is why we have the semilunar valves here, or the pulmonary valve and the aortic valve. The respiratory system is a network of organs and tissues that help you breathe. It includes your trachea, your bronchi, your lungs, which are made of the bronchioles and alveoli, and blood vessels surrounding the alveoli. The muscles that ventilate your lungs are also part of the respiratory system, specifically the diaphragm and the intercostal muscles between your ribs. The respiratory system has many functions. Besides helping you to inhale and exhale, it allows you to talk, delivers oxygen to the blood, which will circulate your body. It removes carbon dioxide from the body when you exhale, and it protects your airways from harmful substances and irritants. The digestive system consists of the gastrointestinal tract plus the accessory organs of digestion. The GI tract is a series of hollow organs joined in a long twisting tube from the mouth to the anus. The hollow organs that make up the GI tract are the mouth, the esophagus, the stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and the anus. The tongue, salivary glands, the liver, pancreas, and the gallbladder are the accessory organs of the digestive system that aid in digestion. We can see the organs on the right side. Digestion involves the breakdown of food into smaller and smaller components until they can be absorbed and assimilated into the body. Mechanical digestion is the breakdown of food into smaller pieces without breaking them down into smaller molecules. So there's no chemical change. This happens during chewing in the mouth, for example, and the churning of the stomach. Chemical digestion is the breakdown of large food molecules into smaller food molecules by the help of digestive enzymes. Chemical digestion starts in the mouth by the enzyme salivary amylase, which digests starch into smaller molecules, maltose. And it finishes in the small intestine, where the pancreas provides the enzymes for the digestion of the carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, and nucleases. Absorption takes place in the small intestine and is the uptake of the small food molecules after chemical digestion has finished into the blood for the distribution around the body and their assimilation. Down here we can see some examples of chemical digestion where the enzymes on top in large proteases break down proteins into peptides, into amino acids, amylase, digest sugar, specifically starch, into maltose, nucleases break down DNA and RNA into nucleotides, lipases digest fats with the help of bile salts. The urinary system, also known as the renal system or urinary tract, consists of the kidneys, ureters, bladder, and the urethra. The purpose of the urinary system is to eliminate waste from the body, regulate blood volume and blood pressure, and control levels of electrolytes and metabolites, and it regulates the blood pH. This happens mainly in the kidneys, where filtration and reabsorption processes happen until the blood is cleaned and all the excess substances are removed. The filtrate, or the urine, collects in the renal pelvis of the kidney and is transported via the ureter to the bladder, where it is stored until it is released through the urethra. Most tasks in the body need the support of two or more organ systems working together. Your body organ systems work together to complete the tasks needed to keep you alive. The circulatory system, the digestive and respiratory systems, they work together to carry out the processes of cellular respiration, for example. There's another screencast that goes in detail into cellular respiration. The respiratory system brings oxygen into the lungs, and the digestive system breaks down food into nutrients such as glucose. The circulatory system transports glucose from the digestive system to the cells, and it also moves the oxygen from the lungs to the cells and returns carbon dioxide, which is waste from cellular respiration, to the lungs. Another example in the organ system teamwork needed to walk, run, or lift an object. The muscular, skeletal, and nervous systems must all cooperate to produce even the most simple movements that propel our bodies forward. The following diagram highlights some specific ways that these systems work together. For example, we have the skeletal system that provides skeletal muscle something to pull against so that the skeletal muscle can move. That is an interaction between skeletal and muscular system. The cerebrum of the brain controls the movement, while the cerebellum controls voluntary movement. So the nervous system aids the muscular system to move. Let's have a look at two short questions. Which organ system regulates both the volume and pH of the blood. You can pause the video if you want to think about it. The answer will come now. It is the urinary system. Complete the statement with terms from the section. The three organ systems primarily responsible for the running motion of an athlete in a relay race are. You can pause the video to think about the correct three organ systems. The answer is coming now. The nervous system, the skeletal system, and the muscular system. This was GED Live at PALS with teacher Alex. The subject was GED Science and the topic was Human Body Systems. Hope to see you next time and have a good day.